What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you. It's a Wednesday evening. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. CW Stidham, how you doing? Elizabeth, Melissa, hope you guys are all doing well tonight. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from this evening. Of course, if you have any questions over the next half hour that we're hanging out, BSing about the weather, and of course, talking about the heat, the storms, and the tropics. We are coming at you live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. A lot to get to tonight, so we are going to jump right into it this evening. Rain chances, they are returning. We saw them last night. We have a few thunderstorms out there right now. So before we get into the forecast, I want to show you where we have those storms and where they are heading. And then we're going to check in on the tropics after the first break. There's a lot of buzz out there in the Atlantic. I think the bark is a lot worse than the bite that you might be seeing out there for now. So I'm going to give you my take on that. And then at the end, of course, sound off. We are going to answer your questions. If you have a comment, whatever you want to put in the chat room, we will get to that as best I can. I do have my coffee tonight. That says Daytona Beach. It's supposed to say CW's name. We'll get that all squared away. But nonetheless, the coffee is in this evening. That's a live look upstairs or up above my head at Daytona Beach. And then at Champions Gate, we do have a thunderstorm nearby there. And that is helping. We're watching for some lightning to show up on the map. And here's where we have the thunder trying to work in mainly into Haines City tonight, out of Davenport, Lowman into Point Siena, and that camera is hanging out right about in here. So we're going to see if we can catch a glimpse of some lightning as those thunderstorms work up. We've had a lot of luck on the 9:30 show catching distant lightning out there. We also have some thunderstorms east of I-4 tonight, a downpour in Oak Hill. New Smyrna Beach, we might be able to keep these alive enough to get them on the west side of town round 2 this evening as these move out of Oviedo and kind of split the difference, I think, between Lake Helen, Casadega, New Smyrna Beach tonight as those are kind of lifting to the north. We have a few storms right over the Ocala National Forest, at least a few lightning strikes tonight. These are continuing to push off to the east, and I would not be surprised if we have more thunderstorms here. Looks like the radar is trying to pick up on a couple of boundaries, one right in there and then one right in there, and oftentimes as those come together, we get some stuff to fire in right through there. Rebecca, what's going on, my friend? She says, it did say nice rain in East Orange County, I think. But there we go in University Park towards the Bithlow area. There's some of those thunderstorms across the 408. So it wasn't exactly a dust storm. It might have just been the rain was heavy enough to bring up the ground. A lot of times that happens as well. If there's, it kind of rains heavy enough and it pushes some of the dirt that's sand-like. There was some dust in our atmosphere last night, a little bit. I don't know if anybody noticed. I don't know if anybody noticed the lightning last night was a little weird. It was kind of yellowish versus like our typical white or blue. And that would indicate the presence of some particulate matter, some dust particles in the atmosphere. It's causing the light to scatter more and making it change the color. So if you were up at like when I was driving home, it was wild last night. So around midnight or 12:30 or something like that, there was some distant thunderstorms out there and you could see the yellow hue to the lightning. You can see some of the thunder actually. We caught some on the Daytona Beach cam above my head. Richard said, welcome to Ormond by the Sea. Had a big thunderstorm today around 5:15. Some good frog stranglers, about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Good stuff there. So that's going to be, you might get another one, although that one's likely going to stay. It's on a beeline for it if it sticks together. These are going to be shorter lived tonight as we are in the 9:30 hour. So there's kind of a little radar tour before we get into the forecast side of things. And again, watching these bigger guys get ready to push in closer towards Lowman and Point Siena tonight. Downpour ongoing right now. If I can get the Point Siena name to pop up. There it is. Sometimes it takes a second for the map to pop back up. Pagey P says, humid on and off rain in South Daytona. Yuck. I couldn't have put it better myself. It is terrible out there. So the forecast again for tomorrow, we're getting back into the mid-90s. We're staying in the mid-90s, really. Jacksonville, we're pushing 97. All of the orange boxes represent where we have above normal temperatures. Tallahassee, we're at 93. Tampa, we're at 95. Miami, we're at 92. All of those numbers are above average. The gray box represents where we should be for this time of the year. Pensacola into Naples, Fort Myers, we are pushing right where we should be. Again, that is typical Florida heat in the gray boxes. Again, the orange is a little bit above, but we're back to more of the typical stuff. What we had on Sunday, what we had on Monday, and what we had yesterday, that was kind of wild. That's that upper echelon stuff. Upper 90s, the heat indices of 110, 115. That's the upper echelon stuff. And again, I know people make a little bit of a big deal about the heat index. I've gone on my soapbox all last week leading up to the bigger heat over the weekend. It matters because the higher the number, the harder it is for your body to cool itself naturally because the humidity is juiced. So same deal there. Rail Stalker Adventure says the humidity and no rain really hurts. Good grief. No kidding. I'm with you. It's terrible. At least and that's one of the things too that's kind of hurting this is that we're just not seeing the widespread rain. The pattern has been to heat us up and not really get rain. Typically, like what we saw yesterday and today, to some degree anyways, we're kind of working back into the sea breeze pattern. It's just been very, very hard to get the rainfall. In terms of the heat risk for tomorrow, we do still have purple on the map. We don't like to see the purple. That's maxing out this scale here on the extreme side. But the good news is that extreme kind of heat risk category, it's shrinking. And we also have more orange popping up, some of the red even eroding. So it's certainly improving a little bit. I know it's really not doing much, but we're taking what we can get. It's terrible. Tiffany says she has her central air on 70, portable AC going. It was still 78. I don't care. I know Candace asked the question, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos on her Facebook page, and it's just even the best central air systems right now are running all day, and a lot of them are running all night. It's wild. I mean, it's hard to keep up. And the electric bills are unfortunately going to be terrible. There's another lightning strike in Daytona Beach, looking no doubt at those storms that are riding up from the south. We'll take another look at that radar picture. They're seeing the ones right here. So again, it's always cool to see that camera in the distance picking up on the lightning strikes there that are working their way to them, and we'll see if we end up getting a thunderstorm for Daytona, actually getting that thunderstorm while we're still on the stream. It might happen after when we're on News 6 at 10 o'clock. So don't go anywhere if you are watching News 6 Plus right now, because we have News 6 at 10 coming. We're going to track these storms. We're going to talk about the heat. And of course, we're going to talk about the tropics coming up in just about 3 minutes. I have to take a quick break. Please do me a favor, post in the comments where you're tuning in from at the very least. And any questions, of course, I will do my best to answer them. I'm back in just 3 minutes. And then we're taking a real deep dive into the tropics. I think the bark is worse than its bite, but we'll get into that in about 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back on a Wednesday night. We are tracking a couple of thunderstorms out there, watching some lightning in the distance. The live cam is Daytona Beach above my head. Below me in the Brady Bunch box, we have Champions Gate watching a thunderstorm to the south of Champions Gate and a thunderstorm also to the south of Daytona Beach. Melissa is asking if New Smyrna is going to get any more rain tonight. You're going to have to do a little dodging over the next hour-ish. We do have this thunderstorm that you're likely, if you went outside, you can see the lightning with it. It is likely going to slide just to the west. It's going to be close. It has that angle, but it's generally working in that direction. I think Ponce Inlet, Port Orange has the better shot, but I don't think you're completely out of the woods with the rain chances and thunderstorms tonight. There's nothing damaging. There's nothing strong about it. But nonetheless, I think you're going to have the opportunity to at least hear thunder, if not even get a full out downpour. Paige P is asking, thank you for being here. Of course, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you hanging out with me 9:30 every night, Monday through Friday, live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. Please post in the comments where you're tuning in from. Thank you for, okay, so what kind of storm action are we going to see by the time it hits Daytona? It should be on a weakening trend. If it holds together, it's just going to be some heavy rain, lightning, maybe a little gusty wind. But yeah, these things are going to be falling apart for sure. Jody, I missed your question at the beginning. Please post it again, and I will get that towards the end of in the question segment of the show coming up in about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, so on to the tropical front. There's a lot out there, a lot of scary model runs being shared. I'm sure you may have seen them. Here's the deal. This is the official outlook from the National Hurricane Center. No new development expected over the next 7 days. We do have a couple of waves out there. Here's one wave. And remember how we use the wind direction to kind of dissect where the wave is. Certainly, you see the cluster of thunderstorms there. The orange and red represents where we have the thunderstorms trying to blossom in this wave. But notice those white lines. They come in out of the southeast, they go up to the north, and then cut back to the south and west. That is a tropical wave. It's an open wave rather than a circulation. So there's one wave there. There's a really, really weak one out ahead of it right there. There's a beefy one, beefy couple of them coming off the African coastline. Those are what models are trying to latch onto, those two waves. The deal is it's still pretty dusty out there, and the dust isn't the end-all be-all to crushing these storms, but when they ingest this dry, dusty, stable air, it's really, really hard for a storm to get going. One of the things that we are going to watch, though, and some of the models are suggesting that these waves are going to look pretty sad coming across the main development region of the Atlantic. That's the area from the Caribbean through the Lesser Antilles and then all the way to the Cabo Verde Islands. It's once they get close to home where the atmosphere gets a little bit better and the water temperatures are a little bit warmer relative to normal off of the west coast of, or off of the east coast of Florida. So that's going to be something that we are watching. Look at this. It's hard to have two basins active at once because they are competing for the same environment, the rising motion. Look at what's going on in the central and eastern Pacific. Of course, here's Hawaii right there. So there's Hawaii. We'll zoom back out. We did have Hurricane Iona rapidly intensified before it moved south of Hawaii. Now it's a tropical storm. There is another storm on its heels that has a medium shot for development. There are two waves kind of clustered together that have a medium and a high shot for development to the west of Mexico. And then there are more waves out there kind of rolling out of Central America. So the Central and Eastern Pacific continue to be hot, to say the least. While that is active like that, it's very, very hard for the Atlantic to sustain something. It's not impossible, but again, they're competing for the same rising motion, and the general rule is when one basin is hot, the other basin is not. We are right now, thankfully, on the not side, and it should stay like that. At least any wave that tries to get going in the short term is going to have to battle that. Now, the Climate Prediction Center released this yesterday. We touched on this a little bit. They highlighted this area in peach for a greater than 20% shot between the first and second week of August. The Bahamas, Turks and Caicos off the Florida coast in between Bermuda for some possible tropical development. Certainly, we're getting into August. We're watching it. And then deeper into August, they're highlighting August 13th to August 19th for possible tropical development. Again, all of this should not be a shock to anybody, by the way, as we get into the meat and potatoes of the upcoming hurricane season. So with that, I want to show you some of the ensembles. And again, ensembles are what you want to look at this stage in the game. The singular model runs that show like a major hurricane to New Orleans or to South Carolina or to Florida or to wherever can't be trusted right now. And most of that has been the AI models, most of the deterministic that has the physics and math equations to come up with the solution. They've been very bearish, but bullish on the AI stuff. So this is the first big battle this season between the AI models, artificial intelligence, and the regular physics models and math models that we've been, the Euro, the GFS, the Canadian, all that stuff. But here is the European ensemble. So we're going out. This is August 9th. Let me back this train up even further. There's a little bit of a signal. You see that right in through here. August 7th, 8th. Okay, so that's that greater than 20% deal. We are looking like there's a potential for some low pressure to develop. But watch what happens as we go further. Remember, the more little L's and circular things that pop up, the more ensemble members are latching on to something. So this is now way out there, okay? This is on August 14th. This is 2 weeks away. It's hinting at some development. Note how it comes in. It's like nothing, 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 and then flare up there north of the Caribbean islands. Is it possible? It is. I have questions, though. The Madden-Julian oscillation, that big bubble of rising air, it's moving through the Pacific right now, and that's what's helping to fuel that outbreak of tropical systems on the eastern and central Pacific. It's forecast to move through the Atlantic basin to help fuel that up and flare that up as well. The models are latching on to that little, again, the flare up of ensemble members there. However, I'm just not sold that the MJO is going to survive and help to force things up. It looked like it was last year in August, and then it didn't make it because the Atlantic is just so stable right now, and that works against development. So I have a question. I'm kind of in the I'll believe it when I see it mode. I'm watching it. We're watching it, but I do have questions because on a large scale, it's just not there right now in the Atlantic, and that's obviously a good thing. All right, I have to get my final break in. I will answer some of the questions. Jody, you must have missed it. I did answer that question. It's likely because of the very heavy rain that just kind of brought up brought up kind of the dirt, the sandy dirt. There wasn't really a dust storm. I mentioned that there may have been a few dust particles in the atmosphere, but certainly nothing like that. What a lot of times happens is it rains really heavy, it causes runoff, and then that's what's all over the sidewalks. So that's the deal there with the sand. There was a little bit of sand in the atmosphere or the dust, I should say, 15, 20,000 feet above your head because it may turn the lightning yellow. If anybody saw that last night, I'd love to know if you saw it. For sure. Elizabeth, I just think your routine thunderstorms, nothing tropically speaking over the next couple of days for sure. All right, I got to get this break in. I have about a minute on the back end to answer questions. Alrighty, guys, we are back. I have about 2 minutes to answer questions, so post those in there. Tiffany is asking, any storms in your area tonight? And there are just south. You're likely, if you look to the south, you'll see the lightning. These have a shot to hold together tonight, so you might hear some thunder and get some heavy rain for a short amount of time. There's nothing severe though coming your way. It's just going to be if it holds together as it works its way through. It's you're gonna hear it pretty good. Good question here. How do tsunamis affect the hurricane when encountered? There was kind of a really weird phenomenon. The tsunami wave went right under Hurricane Iona last night as it worked through. The answer to that is nothing. And the weird thing, maybe not weird thing, but the interesting thing about tsunamis, if you were on a cruise ship in the Pacific, you would never know that there was a tsunami. It's not like a tidal wave, like a rogue wave or something like that. What happens is as the earth gets forced up, it sends those waves up and displaces the water only by a few centimeters. So when you're looking at these detection systems that are out there in the water, it'll record a very subtle water rise. The issue with tsunamis is it's a very similar thing to storm surge with hurricanes. It's not like a tidal wave. It's going to be a series of almost like storm surge-esque things. And it's because of the bathymetry or the shape of the coastline which causes the wave to do it. So say the coastline is shaped like this, and then you have the water coming in. It's got to go somewhere. It gets forced up, and then that's where you get the wave like that. So it's a very interesting thing that if you were out on a sailboat or on a canoe, you would never know there was a tsunami underneath you. You only know once it comes to the land and that water gets forced up by the shape of the coastline or the rise up of the shelf into the beach. So that is how that happens. Alrighty, guys. I have to run. I have to get a break. I have to get ready for the 10 o'clock news. If you are here, you've already found News 6. If you're watching on News 6 Plus, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can stay on this channel. It's going to be on a different little chiclet. Just make sure you go back to the News 6 YouTube page, and you can watch that live as well. The best bet is to download News 6 Plus. It is free. News 6 Plus at 10 starts in like 2 minutes on News 6 Plus and on YouTube. And of course, we are back on the regular way that you watch your news if you're in the greater Central Florida area on News 6. I will see you there again for another about hour of news at 10 and 11. Thank you guys a ton. Really appreciate it. Have a good night. Be safe. Watch out for the lightning out there. I'm not here tomorrow. Meteorologist David Nazario is going to be back in. I will catch you then. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great day, everybody.